Alright, so here we are again, out at the cabin, in the forest. I was going to say last time, I forgot how quiet it is in the wintertime in the woods. Very quiet. You can hear things from a lot further away than you could in the summer or other seasons, because everything is just asleep. It's just quiet. All the animals have gone. They're either hibernating or retreating for the winter, or they've migrated away. It's a pretty magical time. The solstice is tomorrow, so I'm out here trying to do what I can to, make the most of it and take it all in. There's definitely some type of a magic in the air. And I know that in the modern time we've attributed it to, the modern commercial version of Christmas and the holidays and all this. But there's something else going on. There's something that we've all but forgotten. And I know for myself as well, I can speak for myself and say that I've lost sight of it over the years and got caught up in the whole production of this holiday, when really it's a sacred time of the year that's been observed for, who knows, eons, by many, many, many generations and people. So it's only fitting that we try our best to do the same and to keep these traditions alive, because I think they're worth preserving. It's a core part of our roots. And for me, I understand why now, or I'm starting to, because I can feel it. There's a sense of something's going on right now. Like everything is coming to a culmination of sorts, or maybe another way of looking at it is everything is ramping down to be at absolute zero for a few days, right? And then picking back up again, and the light is literally returning to the world. But we're in our darkest time right now, and the darkness is nothing to be afraid of. The darkness is only there to teach us more about the light. And it's actually a crucial part of capturing and shining our own light, is understanding the darkness. So it's like the yin and the yang. I had a wonderful breathwork seminar yesterday involving polarity. And just wonderful visuals came through, during the meditations and the journeys that we were doing. That just, the male and female aspects, which is not the same as gender, right? This is something else. The male and female aspects are akin to rain. The rain being the masculine energy, and the lake or the body of water being the feminine energy that receives the rain. Can you say that water is really either masculine or feminine? Masculine or feminine energy? I mean, I know that that's the theory that a lot of people have, but I think even within each element there is a masculine and feminine. There's a polarity, and it's a perfect balance, and that's, I think, what we're striving to achieve within ourselves, is a perfect balance, not just as a whole, as a system, but also each individual part being balanced in its polarity. So hopefully that makes sense. But today, actually, the topic of conversation is trees once again, and we are going to take a little walk, and we're going to talk to two more trees today. We're going to talk to the cedar, because they keep calling to me, and I think it's a tree that's underappreciated, and really it doesn't get the credit that it deserves, because it is a fantastic tree, and it has so much to offer and so much to teach us, that I think it's important to go with cedar next. And what I see in my immediate vision also, to pair it up, because I've been trying to do two trees. It's like with the last theme of maple and prickly ash, which is, I guess that is a tree, but it's more of a shrub probably, or a bush. But regardless, the one that I'm looking at right now is an oak And it's the one that has my dog Marley's ashes below it, and also soon to be our lizard Smog, who we recently passed away, unfortunately. He's also going to be buried here under this same oak. It's the one that's right beside the cabin, and it's a pretty nice one. So a white oak. So yeah, we're going to talk to these two trees. They're right here, right beside the cabin, and let's see what happens. Let's see what message we get. And obviously, I'm going to start with my intention. And since, you know what, I think I've been doing all this in one take, so I'm going to keep it going. Let's just keep rolling. This is going to be a more raw type video, so I'm going to try and do it in one take. But I'm going to show you, get an inside scoop today. I apologize for the shaky footage and production here, but the idea, the concepts I'm trying to bring forward is what matters. It's not my portrait style, cell phone production here. Try to look past that and see the greater meaning. So this is a cedar, white cedar, I guess. I'm not really good at identifying the subspecies yet, but I believe this is just, regular Eastern Ontario white cedar. We have a lot of them here. And the thing with cedar, before I communicate with the tree here, I'm going to just say a little bit about what I know about the tree, my personal experience with it, rather than the scientific outlook. Cedars here on this property have overtaken a large percentage of the forest. If I were to venture a guess, I would say they could probably take up anywhere from 40 to 60% of the whole forest. And we have a 5-acre property, and the woods take up about 3. So of the 3, you can, a rough estimate, let's say 1.5 acres is just white cedar. And nothing else grows around the white cedar. Nothing else can even compete with it, really. Whenever the white cedar takes over a spot, and there's several areas in the woods here, I'm not going to take us around everything, but you can probably get a sense. I just pan a little bit. That's a lot of cedar. See, there's the oak. But there's a lot, even these two right here, that I haven't finished cutting down from the cabin build. So there's just cedar everywhere. And the leaves, when they fall to the ground, they create a condition in the soil that really stunts and prevents a lot of other plants from growing. And it's very specific plants that can grow alongside cedar. There's only a few, and I couldn't even name them. And it's just like fungus, mushrooms. There's only a very few type that can break down cedar. And I think before we speak to the tree, we should understand its character, and that, I've been leaning on it here for quite some time. And I get the sense that the cedar is like, it's an independent, it's independent, but it's interdependent at the same time. It's dependent on its brethren, for lack of a better word, but it's also independent of other species to survive. It doesn't really need, other than those very select few that I mentioned that I couldn't even name. But I know them to look at them, but I couldn't tell you their scientific name. But anyway, they really dominate, is what it is. It's I guess going back to the polarity thing, it's a very male, a male energy that's coming from this tree anyway. This particular one is sending off a very male, not ambivalent, it's not, I would say maybe aloof, if anything, but it's like, yeah, I'm happy to talk to you. I'm happy to just stand here and do my thing amongst my family, It's no big deal kind of thing. It's a very nonchalant kind of tree. It has been observing So now I've got my hand on the tree. We're going to start talking to the tree. It's been observing what we've been doing here, because it's right beside the cabin, right? Cabin's like right there. And it thanks us for not cutting it down, because it saw a lot of other trees around it getting cut down to put this cabin in specifically. So it's thankful that we spared its life. And it challenges us to look beyond our perceptions of these sort of things, as in what we see as being all the same, right? I see as being patches of cedar, right, that make up a whole, that make up a group. This particular cedar, it's challenging me to see the individual, and that even, maybe that's where it ties in with what I was saying earlier, is that even within the individual there is polarity, right? Obviously there is, but I was looking at it more from a perspective of group polarity, as in the cedar species being masculine energy. But now I understand the message I'm getting is that the individual, right, the smallest unit is what contains the polarity, and therefore almost like the homunculus, like the Russian nesting dolls, that there's going to be a reflection of that core, right? It's going to be a reflection on every layer, a carbon copy, maybe with slight modifications. Anyway, we're getting off a bit on a tangent there, but going back, I just want to see. So yeah, once it reminded me that it's a clean tree, if that makes any sense. It's a sterile tree. It's one that needs its space. It needs to hold space for itself and for others of its kind, because that's how they have survived as long as they have, and that's how they continue to thrive here and in a lot of places all over the world. And it's saying that also the other species of cedar are not exactly the same, and that they operate kind of under different rules, different systems and hierarchies, if you will. So, anything else? Yeah. Warm and loving, but yet cold and indifferent. Thank you. Thank you for that, my friend. So let's move on now to the oak here. This is going to be, I can tell it's going to be a powerful experience, because there's a lot of pent-up energy in this place, in this particular spot right now, for many different reasons. Wow. I'm impressed that I've been able to do this all in one take, because normally I'd want to cut this up into pieces. Anyway, hopefully it'll be palatable for y'all. So here's the white oak. We have several on our property. We're blessed enough to have, I don't know, I'd estimate anywhere from half a dozen to a dozen white oaks, which is a good number. Seems to be about the same density as far as the population goes as other forests that I've been in around here. Seems to be, again, I couldn't put a number on it, but it's like every 50 trees is an oak, every 100 trees maybe. And there's thousands of trees here, so this oak, much like the cedar, it has been observing. And this oak says that, hold on, it's speaking a little bit slower than the cedar. This oak says, much like the cedar, that It's been watching, it's been observing, and it's its season right now. And it loves the darkness because it knows that, I want to make sure I get this right. Just verifying with the tree. It's excited, just like I am, just like we are, for the return of the light. So it knows that if it can just hold on for a little while longer, right? Maybe it's that, being that it's not an evergreen, but I want to say perennial, but that's not the right word. Deciduous? Being that it's a deciduous tree, it really has to use a lot of its reserves to survive the winter and to maintain its health in order to get to the spring. So now it knows, all right, I've made it this far. I'm good for another season. It seems like a fairly young-ish tree in good health. Not a lot of competition around, right? We've opened up the space here for it. So I think it's a happy tree that's doing well. Maybe a teenager, early 20s in our years. But yeah, I think the overall message from this oak is one of youth and strength. And what else? It's giving me green turtle longevity. Longevity? What else? Training wheels. I don't know what that means. You're going to have to clarify a little bit. Bicycle. What does that mean? I'm not sure. I'm not catching that one. I'm sorry, tree. I'd ask the source. I'd ask the light to provide me with more understanding in this moment so that I can translate what that means, because my vessel is having a hard time with that one. Conveyance is just the word that I keep getting. I don't know what that means, but conveyance. So it has a way with conveyance, maybe through the spread of its seed and its fruit. I'm not sure. But overall, the message is one of resilience and just holding on, right? Find that inner endurance. Find that place within us that we thought we reached the end, but no, there's more, right? There's always more at the bottom of the tank. There's always more energy. There's always more kindness. There's always more love to find. There's always more empathy. There's always more work to be done, right? There's always more learning and education and self-care and care for others, and it goes on and on and on. So that was a beautiful message as well from this tree. So thank you so much, my friend, my old friend, my new old friend, my new old new friend. Stop being silly. But this was a really formative experience for me. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope that I was able to deliver that in some type of palatable way in this format. But let me know what you think. That was kind of a crash course on communicating with trees, I guess, from the Celtic perspective, but I'm by no means an expert. I'm just sharing what I know and what I do, and just letting, I'm finally getting to a place where I can just let the messages come through and not question them or not think, am I making this up? Is this my imagination? Is this, like, no, this is real. This is all real, and this is all happening for a very specific and beautiful sacred purpose. And that's what I'm trying to get across here. You know, even those of us who can't have the luxury, and I'm so blessed, you know, I'm so grateful. I don't express it nearly enough, but I'm so grateful for what I have, to be able to come into my backyard and have this beautiful place. I don't spend nearly enough time here. You know, the trappings of technology and the internet and just modern life, just they get me like anybody else, right? But I have to remind myself to keep coming back out here, because this is where the magic happens, you know. But I was going to say, for those that are not as lucky to have this kind of thing as accessible in their backyard or nearby, there's always a way. There's always another way. You know, it's one of my most famous sayings. My kids are probably tired of hearing me say it, but there's always another way. It's so true. You know, you can have a similar experience in a local park, or staring out your window, or appreciating a plant or an animal or your garden or a good book or whatever it is. You know, there's ways of tapping into this same magic. It's readily available here in this type of place in the forest. So I would encourage you, if you can, to visit and go straight to the source, as they say. Go to the source energy. But if you can't, I mean, there's all kinds of different ways. There's all kinds of options that may not be readily intuitive, you know, but they're there. You just gotta dig a little bit and you gotta find them. But or talk to somebody like me. Talk to one of your friends or family members to ask if they know anybody that's got a forest where you can go hang out. I know several people off the top of my head that would be happy to let folks go and have a stroll on their property, you know, as long as you give them a heads up that you're there and you have permission. It's the same here. If somebody wanted to come and walk the woods, I'd be more than happy to let them come and experience what this is. You know, I think that's what a lot of us are trying to build and keep alive in the world, is this concept of, you know, communing with nature at every given opportunity, because for a large part it offsets the damage that is being caused by bad food and EMFs and again, I don't want to come off as an expert, because I'm still learning a lot of these lessons myself, and I'm still learning how to simply negate this damage that I inflict upon myself through just day-to-day neglect. And it's just not necessary, you know, until I can learn to stop doing that completely, or I gotta try to at least offset it with spending time in the forest and grounding and sunning and proper health and nutrition and all that good stuff, exercise, you know, breathing fresh air. That's why I'm out here. That's why I'm doing this, you know. You just happen to be lucky enough to come along for the trip. So, anyway, hopefully my Fred Penner-esque vibe is coming across, but I know that you all have been staring at me for 23 minutes now. Wow, okay. Time has flown by. I hope that was useful. I hope that you got something out of that, and you appreciate it, because there were some good lessons there for me, and I'm hoping that they're coming across here in the video. So I'll leave it at that for now. But as always, I appreciate your viewership, and if you are so inclined, do share your thoughts. Ask any questions you may have. I'll be happy to answer if I can. And yeah, let's talk. Let's have a conversation, and be happy to also read what you guys are doing in this time of year. You know, the solstice, as I mentioned, is tomorrow. So I'll be very curious to see what the community out there as a whole is doing. What are you guys up to for the solstice, or for Christmas, or the holidays, or Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever you guys are doing? You know, drop it in the comments or let me know. And if I don't talk to you before then happy holidays. Wishing everyone a safe and happy holiday season. Sending love and light, and love you guys. Yeah, hope you tune in again next time for another Insights from the Forest. This is it right here. I'll try to do a better job next time as well with the film production. I'll use my camera if it doesn't freeze. I don't really care so much about my phone, but my Canon may freeze and be unworkable. But you know what? I'll give it a try anyway. To hell with it. 4K, it's worth it. It's worth the risk. So we'll do that next time. Look forward to maybe, yeah, for sure, actually, better production value, and perhaps even a script Ooh, imagine that. A script. Maybe not one that I'll follow to the T, but you know, to keep us on track so we don't make 25-minute videos. Keep it down to 10-15, like I said the first time. Anyway, so that is it. Thank you so much again for tuning in. Be well. Take care. See you next time.